Before his cross-up defenders, hitting mid-range jumpers, and launching braid-like assists, Cade Cunningham was shockingly a football prodigy, and despite throwing 80-yard touchdowns and never losing a game on the gridiron, he hung up his pads and transformed into a basketball superstar after one unexpected incident. Perhaps it's because he just became a teenage father or a nasty hit that tipped it off. This is the story of how a high school quarterback became an NBA superstar. On September 25, 2001, Cade Cunningham was born in Arlington, Texas, the suburbs of Dallas. His mother was Carrie Cunningham, a former tennis player who played in the Wimbledon and US Open. His father was a man named Keith Cunningham, a quarterback star who played at Texas Tech. That was until he faced a freak accident. While moving his mother's furniture, he hit a ceiling fan that sliced his throwing arm, and suddenly his football career was over, and now he was a switchboard mechanic. So it didn't take long for him to instill his love for football into Cade. Cade pursued being the quarterback just like his father, idolizing Tony Romo because of his ability to deep hit coverages and cause havoc in the pocket. But outside the gridiron, he would start to fall in love with basketball. He would train with his older brother Cannon, who was a 6'10" center at SMU, and his cousin Ashton, who was an NBA trainer. With the two combined, he would imitate his brothers and cousins' drills, picking up things faster than most kids.
Ashton would train Cannon. Cade was right there.
At the age of 5, he was much bigger and more advanced than his peers on the court. He was already dribbling the ball up the court with one hand instead of two. However, his dad was still pushing him to play football. When he first stepped onto the field, sinking his cleats into the ground, it was clear that football ran in his veins. Initially, he dominated. In his first game ever, he had an 80-yard touchdown run. In his 7th and 8th grade year, he went undefeated. He was on the rise to football stardom and one of the top football prospects in the country for now. He entered Bowie High School as a 6'5", 14-year-old after growing 4 inches in the summer. His huge frame would cause him to suddenly shift focus towards basketball.
Once he got to Bowie, that's when it started getting real. And I was like, okay, got something now.
During the practice, Oklahoma State University assistant coach Mike Boynton sat in the bleachers scouting the team. Originally, he was there for Kyle Edwards, who was a nationally ranked player at the time. But then his eyes started to shift to one particular kid, a 6'5" senior with a 7-foot wingspan and broad shoulders, or so he thought.
He came in and he watched me a couple times, and he walked up to me and just offered me. He was like, "I want to, extend you a scholarship to University of Oklahoma State, or Oklahoma State University." And I was like, what?
He asked Bowie's head coach, "Hey, what's going on with that kid? Is he going to sign late this year?" Attempting to offer the kid a scholarship. Shortly after, Bowie's head coach responded he was a freshman, and the freshman's name was Cade Cunningham. And he just received his first ever Division I offer at 14. Throughout his freshman year, he dominated. He torched all of Arlington, Texas, while actively playing quarterback on the football field. His ability to read coverages and launch bombs in the end zone helped him craft flawless passes on the basketball court. But there was one major problem. Sophomore year was over and the pressure was mounting. 2 worlds, 1 choice, football or basketball. What would it be? Every athlete faces a moment that defines their career. For him, this was that moment. After days of contemplating, he sat down relaxed on the couch. His eyes were locked to the TV screen, watching his brother dominate college basketball, and right there, it clicked. He knew he wanted to be just like his brother, a basketball player. Yet, this was just an external reason. The real reason he chose basketball over football was because he just didn't have the passion for it like his father. No matter how much he pushed him or his dominance on the field, his heart simply wasn't in it. The weight of the pads and the scorching heat just felt unbearable. The joy and adrenaline rush wasn't the same compared to basketball, and just like that, he officially hung up his pads forever. Then a unique opportunity presented itself. Right before Cade went off to AAU, a man said something that changed his basketball career forever. Without these words, the Cade Cunningham we know today may have never existed. Cannon had just got news that he'll become the head coach for an elite AAU basketball team called Drive Nation, so he decided to hold Cade back from playing 17U, which is meant for juniors heading to their senior year of high school, or seniors that just reclassified in high school. This was all because he saw the untapped potential in his little brother, sharing with him, "If you could turn into a point guard, just think about how much longer you'll be able to play." These words weren't just advice, it was the blueprint for greatness.
Cade was, I want to say, number 2 in the nation at the small forward position. Cannon came up with a brilliant idea. I want him to play the point. So I was like, okay, yeah, of course.
This one decision led to Cade dominance in the EYBL, a tournament held by Nike, hosting the cream of the crop athletes. After his tear, he officially became the 44th ranked player in the nation. He began to seek out more competition to get the recognition he felt he deserved. Then suddenly, something stumbled upon him. It would take hours upon hours to convince his mom to make this life-changing decision. After doing all her detective work, trying to figure out if this was the right decision for her youngest child.
I had 2 pages of questions.
You could see that the pages had been flipped over and over, where she'd been writing all of these different questions and concerns that she may have had.
She needs to know everything. She went in there, she's asking all these questions, and anything they say, even if it was, class starts at 7:35, she's jotting it down. Like,
That should not matter to my mom because she's gonna be all the way in Texas.
We were convinced it was the right move.
He got her approval and transferred to the #1 ranked high school in the country, Mount Verde Academy, located in Florida. But what happened next no one could have expected. As he was traveling to Mount Verde, he would receive news that would make any teenager's heart sink. He was having a daughter. Her name was Riley, a bundle of joy that lights up any room you step in. With the pressure of being a teenage father and having another mouth to feed, there was no more time for games. He immediately dominated. He started to take the high school scene by storm, slowly climbing the high school rankings. The recognition he was looking for, he was starting to receive. But then things got critical. He was suffering a career-altering shin injury. With his newborn daughter in his mind, he played through it. There was only one problem. His athleticism wasn't the same. He had to rely on a skill that can't be taught or given, his basketball IQ. But it was one minor change off the court that would lead to his rapid rise to the #1 point guard in the nation. Right before he headed to the Atlantic EYBL session, he was doing countless hours of research on the internet and questioning why athletes made this decision. He decided to join them. He became vegan. Being vegan as an athlete, specifically basketball, increases your energy by promoting better blood flow and also increases your endurance by improving cardiovascular health. This diet switch was a breakthrough for Cade. He obliterated the EYBL, making history. He became the first player in the EYBL's 15-year existence to average 25.1 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, and 5.2 assists. So it wasn't a surprise when he was named EYBL MVP. Yet, he still wasn't the #1 player. Instead, it went to a kid named Jalen Green. Entering his senior year, he was part of a high school team that featured 5 NBA players. The roster was so dominant that he only had to play 22 minutes, blowing out teams by an average of 40 points. They were 25-0, and he was named a McDonald's All-American. And it was finally time for him to make a decision on what college he wanted to attend. With schools like Kentucky, Duke, and North Carolina making their pitch at him, a unique opportunity presented itself. His brother Cannon just got hired as the assistant coach for Oklahoma State University, the same school that mistakenly thought a 14-year-old Cade was a high school senior. With decision day approaching, Cade felt in his heart that his best chance of success would be at.
To be honest, I was this close to picking a different school. But blood is always thicker than water. Go Pokes.
Many believe he made this decision because of his brother, but they were completely wrong. It was because of a person who will only be 4 hours away from him, his daughter, Riley, the person he plays the game for. But after his commitment, there was an initial setback. Oklahoma State was part of a bribery scandal, which led to the school being banned from the postseason. Maybe his choice to go to Oklahoma State wasn't the right decision after all. Cade knew nothing about this before his decision, yet he remained loyal. He stepped foot on campus as the highest recruit in school history, surpassing Marcus Smart. However, there were many questions about his offensive game, more precisely his inconsistent jumper. With critics and doubters voicing their opinions on him, he knew exactly what he had to do. In the rivalry game against Oklahoma, he had 40 points. It was his coming out party, and that was just the beginning. He led Oklahoma State to upset victories against the top 25 ranked teams, Texas Tech and Kansas, but then a hip injury came. This incident forced him to do yoga, which helped loosen his stiff muscles, opening up his joints, increasing his flexibility and range of motion. After coming back from injury, you could see he looked different. His cuts were quicker, his crossover was wider, he jumped higher, and he led his team to 11th spot in the AP polls, finishing with a 21-9 record. By the end of the season, he was the best freshman in college basketball. He led his conference in scoring with 20.1 points per game, while shooting 40% from 3. He was named Big 12 Player of the Year and Big 12 Freshman of the Year that season, becoming only the 4th player to ever do it in the same season. So would the Clears have anything left to say? Was there anything left to prove? Well, yes.
And he had 8 points at halftime. He had 14 in the second half, but he didn't dominate. Right. I kept saying, just take it over, just go, just right. Go, and he couldn't go because he's probably not that guy. He's right. Not Kevin Durant.
Right. It's March Madness. The lights are brighter. The whole world's watching. And he had an opportunity to prove himself. With unshakable confidence, he led Oklahoma State to his first tournament victory in 6 years. However, in the second round, they will ultimately get upset by Oregon State. And the last page of his college career was officially written. With his incredible freshman year, he was selected as the #1 overall pick.
Cade didn't stumble into this.
To a repairing franchise. At least he thought. Things would slowly go in the wrong direction. During the summer league game, he hurt his ankle, which put him behind. He missed training camp, preseason, and the beginning of the season. It would take time for him to find his groove, but once he got going, there were glimpses of Luka Doncic. With his Brady-like arm, no pass was off limits. Behind the back passes, hook passes, and no-look passes that just electrified the crowd. He showed why he was the #1 pick. It was almost like if you inhale, he burst to the basket. You relax, he pulls up for a jumper. So with his emergence, he was invited to the Rising Star Challenge. A chance to silence the critics. He took over the game and led his team to victory. He won the Rising Star MVP. Throughout the season, he continued to dominate, but there was one major flaw in his game, his three-point shooting, which was low compared to his college days. So to reduce the amount of threes he had to shoot, he found an untapped way to score that would soon become his signature. He realized that while everyone was shooting threes, they completely took something out of their arsenal, the mid-range, and that would be his gold mine. He would post up small guards or pull up hitting mid-range jumpers. He was living up to expectations, yet it wasn't good enough as he finished third in the Rookie of the Year voting, 2 spots below his high school teammate, Scotty Barnes. On December 16, 2022, he would face an immediate low. After being sidelined 5 games into the season due to shin soreness, he couldn't do it anymore. The pain was too much. He had to get season-ending surgery to allow his shin to completely heal. This incident helped Cade sit back and analyze the game. Entering the season, he became the fastest player in franchise history to reach 1,200 points and 400 assists in a single season. He was putting up career-high numbers in all categories, but he would soon face some of the lowest times in his career. His personal performance was great, but the team was absolutely terrible. They held the NBA record of 28 losses in a row, and people started to question, can he carry a team? His whole game got scrutinized. On December 31st, the Pistons were able to break free from the losing streak. They captured their first victory against the Toronto Raptors. The Pistons finished the season with 14 wins and 68 losses, yet the front office still believed in him. They offered him a 5-year, $224 million contract. And that's when things completely changed. He came into the season putting the world on notice. He officially arrived. He surveys the court with control like he's a quarterback again, waiting to capitalize on defense's mistakes. Then he zooms past you, finding an open teammate or getting a basket. He's led the Pistons to being one of the league's biggest surprises. He runs the offense smoothly and effectively. He's been selected to his first ever All-Star game. With his insane performances and leadership skills, he's taken the NBA by storm. His ability to map out the court, being unfazed by pressure, has helped him destroy the league. But he didn't gain it on the hardwood, he gained it on the football field. If it wasn't for his high school quarterback days, we may have never seen the Cade Cunningham we are witnessing today.